Hi everyone. So the last session today, the last session on Sunday, it was described as like the headline slot, which is pretty good. The big slot on the last thing on a Sunday. Really pleased to say that I've been joined by Luke, who's the founder of Lucky Saint. Hi Luke.
Hey Robin. Is it the headline slot or the graveyard shift?
Depends which way you look at it. Yeah, let's go headline. No, I really wanted to bookend the festival with two big British names, and yeah, I think there isn't much bigger than you guys. So yeah, no, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk to me.
No, pleasure. Good to be here.
We've just opened up the beer, and I know that everyone at home who's got the box has got it as well. So if they haven't had it, they're in for a treat. If they have, then they know what to expect. And yeah, it's fantastic. So cheers.
Yeah, actually, I haven't opened one yet. I was waiting. I was waiting until we got to the product bit.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. Do you want to tell us where did it all start? Like, what was the start of Lucky Saint? Where did it come from? What's your origin story?
It's funny. I sort of wish I could. I still wish I could pinpoint the moment when I kind of started thinking about it, but it emerged out of this kind of idea that I loved the proposition of alcohol-free beer,
yeah.
But it was something that I never drank. And I kind of, and these things just kind of gnaw away at you. And I guess it kind of eventually I figured out that there wasn't a liquid that was kind of good enough to tempt me into the category.
Okay.
And then there wasn't, and bear in mind, this is going back like 5 years. So this was kind of 2016 when I originally started thinking about this. And then there wasn't a brand that made me feel really good about making that decision to kind of to drink alcohol-free beer. Yeah. So eventually I thought, well, how hard can it be? And I then proceeded to spend 2 years working with 6 different brewers in 3 different countries.
So when was that 2016?
So when did so I started mid 2016.
Okay.
And then we ultimately launched in October 2018.
Okay, wow. So what was that 2 years like?
So those 2 years were a lot of time on Google, because I'd never brewed beer before.
Yeah.
It was kind of starting with the basics and figuring out how you make it, and then figuring out all the sort of the variety of different ways you can make alcohol-free beer. Okay. And then I just started getting in touch with breweries and saying, look, here's my idea. I want to make, and it was always based around doing this like classic Pilsner style lager.
Yeah.
So I'd approach the owner or CEO or whatever of a brewery and start up a conversation and see if I could kind of pique their interest, and try and get them to help me develop a product effectively.
And this is way before the wave that we have now of alcohol-free beers. And
yeah, this was, I mean, I found if I remember, because at the beginning of 2017, Heineken Zero launched.
Okay.
And I remember that sort of seeing that and being like, kind of saying to myself, no, I'm sure it's like a good thing for the category. But obviously when you see like one of the big boys like going after you, you're like, oh, come on. Like, so I started going to breweries and meeting people and trying to convince them to help me develop a product. And it would kind of always go the same way, which was, I'd go and kind of pitch the owner or the CEO or whatever, and I'd get them quite excited about it.
Yeah.
And they'd go, yeah, great. So then they'd ask their head brewer to get involved. And that was always it's always going to be a tougher sell, because I think for the most part, I think brewers are more interested in doing like 7% IPAs and stuff like that than trying to figure out how to make alcohol-free beer. But and yeah, we'd usually, when it happened like 2 or 3 times actually in the UK, you get 1 or 2 brews out of them, and then if it doesn't feel like it's kind of making fast enough progress, then I'd inevitably get a call from the owner saying, look, my head brewer's not really into this, and if he's not into it and he's not happy or she's not happy, then like I've got a problem. So you sort of get the call saying, look, I'm sorry, Luke, but we're gonna have to park this. And so then I'd start the process again.
So how many? So you said 6 times that happened.
Yeah, so I did 4. That happened 4 times in the UK, and then and that was always trying to brew like to a low alcohol. So small malt bill, small amount of fermentable sugar, and therefore like a very low alcohol content. I mean, I was always sort of learning along the journey around like what I thought worked. I then went to Belgium to work with a process called reverse osmosis. Again, didn't get great results with that for a variety of reasons, I think. And then ultimately, I went to Germany and started approaching breweries out there, and found I found this brewery out there that like 1 make like phenomenal lagers, but 2 also had this particular piece of technology that I was after.
Brilliant.
That I hadn't tried yet, and that you can't get in the UK, called vacuum distillation.
Okay. And when was that? When was that sort of breakthrough moment?
So that was in 2017. That started. I flew over. Funny enough, I approached the CEO on email, and I remember it so clearly. I was sitting in the office at the time, and I emailed this guy and said, "Hey, look, I've got this really exciting project in alcohol-free beer in the UK. I happen to be in Germany on Friday. Can I drop in and see you and show it to you? I think and I think you should see it." And he came straight back to me, literally within 2 minutes. It was one of those. I've had a few of those moments where you just get a kind of sort of unlikely kind of responsiveness on email.
Amazing.
And you send hundreds of these, and then occasionally you just get a couple just snap right, like they come right back to you. And he said, "Sure, come by at 1." So So I got the day off work. I booked my flights. I wasn't going to be in Germany on that Friday. And went over there, and I had my big kind of my pitch, as it were, lots of facts and figures. And fun enough, it only took about 5 minutes of chatting to this guy, and he slammed his fist on the table and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Nice.
So we literally walked over the yard, and met the brewmaster, and started talking about like next steps.
That's amazing.
So that was it was cool. And then so we started, and what we were doing initially, it was always going to be classic Pilsner.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What's the sort of, is that your favorite style of, was that your favorite style of beer? Why the Pilsner?
Well, there's a kind of couple. Like I like lots of different styles of beer, but for me it was always it's the ubiquitous beer style.
Okay.
The world over, and actually it's the one that's just is least well served in an alcohol-free context.
Yeah.
So we started brewing these beers, and we quite quickly got to things that were okay. But I felt like they didn't really move the game on.
Okay.
And then I was tasting all the non-alcoholic wheat beers in Germany.
Yeah.
That are actually some of them are fantastic, and actually it's a beer style that lends itself to alcohol-free almost better.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things in it. It has this kind of wheat flavor profile that runs through it that kind of acts as maybe a little bit of a distraction from the fact that there's no alcohol in there. But they also have this amazing body to them. Which is one of the hardest things. And when you hold the glass up and you look at the liquid, and they've got this kind of hazy character to them, the wheat beers. And that's when the kind of penny dropped, and it says, well, if the filtration process used in beer making strips out flavor and body, then why are we not developing an unfiltered lager? And trying to retain all of the flavor and character. And that was when it changed, and we changed the brewing process. We conditioned the beer for way longer, so it ferments for 2 weeks, and we condition it for 4 weeks.
Okay.
So it's a 6-week process to make the beer. And the quality and the flavor that we got just took a big step change, and that was when I thought, okay, we might be nearly there.
Yeah.
After 2 years.
Amazing. That's so good. And that's so. You continued working with that brewer?
Yep. So we continue to brew there. Yeah.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so
good. So we're only 18 months in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's mad to think now that you're like. Yeah, it is such a household name. I feel like I've known it forever. Because
I remember my first sales meeting was I got serendipitously I got introduced. I was having a meeting with someone, and she was saying, oh, where would you like to list Lucky Saint? This was before we launched or anything. And I said, amongst other things, I said, well, if there's a burger joint, it would have to be Honest Burgers.
Oh, nice.
And she said, "Oh, you're never going to believe it. Tom, the founder of Honest, one of the founders of Honest, was best man at my wedding, and I'm having dinner with him tonight. Would you like an intro?" So I obviously bit her hand off.
Too right.
And 4 days later, I was sitting with Tom outside their restaurant in Brixton at 10:30 in the morning, drinking Lucky Saint. And he loved it. Was actually, interestingly, he was all over the kind of non-alcoholic beer space and didn't have anything on his menu. And said, my next menu change is the 1st of October. We'll put it in all our restaurants.
Amazing.
So that was my first sales meeting, which is
that's
quite
so good. I know that's I've had lots of messages from people saying oh yeah, I'm in Honest Burger drinking a Lucky Saint. It's so for a lot of people, that might even be their first association with it. Yeah,
loads of people, and it's kind of fortunate for us as well because they have such a short beer menu.
Yes.
There's only about 5 beers on there, so we get spotted in there, which is nice.
It's amazing. So it's 18 months, and you've kept to the one beer, the one style. What was the logic behind? I mean, is it because it took you so long to do the first one, or
can't face doing another?
Yeah, you'll be all around the world again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of. I think I really like focusing on just trying to do one thing really, really well.
Yeah, definitely.
And listen, it's a relatively new kind of phenomenon having multiple beers, right?
Yeah.
Actually, all of the big beer brands are all built around single single products. So it's a sort of relatively new phenomenon. But I mean, listen, never say never. But at the moment, we've just got so much to do with the lager that we're going to keep trucking away at that.
Yeah, well, personally, I think the fact that there's only one, you only have one, that's a major selling point. That's what makes me want to go to it. It isn't sort of muddied by there being other beers, and I love it. I love seeing it when I've been to the festivals and stuff, and love seeing it in the bottles, and recently as well, seeing it on draft a bit more as well. How did that like? That's obviously a different step. You've got the bottles, you've got everything, and then you then go onto draft.
Yeah, funny enough, we've sort of been thinking about it for quite a while, and sort of thought, nah, I'm not sure. Like, not sure the market is ready. I'm not sure that the demand is there. Just you need to warrant a spot on the bar.
Yeah.
Someone's kind of valuable real estate on the bar.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, in Q4 last year, I finally thought, okay, let's have a go. So we hustled and we put it together in, I don't know, about 4 or 6 weeks. We put the whole thing together. Amazing. and launched it in January, and we launched with 50 venues in London.
Wow.
Which is cool, like a whole range, everything from the Wigmore to market halls. And yeah, we sold what we thought was going to be 3 months stock, and we sold it in 3 weeks.
Wow. It shows the demand.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I don't know, the experience of it was just, that was the bit that I really kind of took me by surprise.
Yeah. It's
just having kind of drunk it in bottle for 18 months and then suddenly be presented with a pint, and I haven't drunk pints for quite a long time, and suddenly you go out and I'm out having 3 or 4 pints.
Yeah. It is amazing. Like, it's as a pub lover, and again, like, drinking pints is not something that when I first started drinking I ever thought would be a thing, and like now you're making it possible. So it's for us drinkers, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's cool. And then so obviously a bit of a shame when that came not grinding, it came crashing to a halt in March.
Yeah. So what's it looked like since then, since the lockdown? What's how's Lucky Saint operating after the lockdown?
We're all from home, obviously.
Yeah.
I know my house better than I ever thought I would.
Are you still brewing the beer?
Yeah, we're still brewing, and we had some not like panicked, but there was some pretty rapid and swift planning needed to be done kind of in March, when you're looking, kind of staring down the barrel of not knowing whether supply chain is going to work, not knowing whether we're going to be able to deliver, get beer from Germany, whether we're going to be able to deliver into customers. And actually it wasn't, from a kind of supply chain perspective, everything stood up really well. And then it turns out people are still consuming beer at home.
More than ever.
Yeah, more than ever, exactly. We've seen this quite interesting dynamic, actually. Lots of people, less so now, but initially, for about the first 6 weeks, people every day I was having conversations around, like, people saying they've never drunk so much at home as they were in lockdown. And then gradually people have the conversation has changed to actually like loads more around moderation. And
definitely. I think there was definitely like a wave where that was the conversation. Now I think for people like yourself, it's that's great. People looking at their drinking habits and then addressing that, because it's not viable to stay in all day just drinking. So
no, you gotta maybe take 1 or 2 days off a week, right?
That's what's perfect. And I know a lot of people love your beer, who they drink, and it's like the closest thing they can have to an alcoholic beer.
Funny enough, actually, I had this amazing email from the owner of a restaurant, actually one of our earliest stockists, a place called Seven Saints. And James, the owner of that, emailed me a couple of weeks ago, and he said like you saying, they've been a complete savior in lockdown. Funny enough, I'd seen the restaurant like been continuing to order Lucky Saint.
Okay.
It was a bit odd. Like, it was definitely the only entree customer who were ordering directly from us. Anyway, it turns out it was him, and he'd stopped drinking. He drinks Lucky Saint in place of normal beer.
Yeah.
Not because he's trying to avoid the alcohol, but because he prefers it.
Yeah, oh, amazing. Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's not alone. I don't think there's plenty.
That's the sort of. I mean, that made my week. Really.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I love it as well, and I know. Yeah, a lot of people, like you say, it's just a great drink to have, and yeah, regardless of the alcohol content. Tell us a little bit about the branding, because it's so distinct, like so recognizable. Where did that come from?
Gosh, good question. I'm just looking at a bottle.
It's been a long time now because it's the same, isn't it, as it's always been?
It's the same as it's always been. There was a previous iteration that got shelved, luckily. And yeah, we shelved it. We started with the wrong name, and we ended up with the wrong design route completely. Sure. So we then spent we kind of bottomed out pretty quickly a typographical style.
Yeah.
We then spent quite a long time, what felt like ages. It took about 2 months to find a new name.
Right.
Naming is like it's just the most painful process I think I've been through.
You're not the only one who said that this weekend. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But just half of them are taken.
Yeah.
You find something brilliant, and then you always find that someone's already got the trademark on it. But so like the Saint part of it is obviously rooted in a little bit of virtuosity.
Yeah.
And then the Lucky part, I'm obsessed by this podcast series called How I Built This.
Okay.
Which is stories of entrepreneurs and founders. It's an American series, actually. Nice. And the final question that the interviewer always asks of whoever he's interviewing, James Dyson or Mark Zuckerberg or whoever it is, how much of your success do you put down to skill and judgment and being smart, and how much do you put down to luck?
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, they're always really modest, and it's always, we were in the right place at the right time, and we got, so many lucky breaks. Yeah. But I kind of always read between the lines a little bit and think that they worked hard enough to get themselves in the right spot. So it's a little bit kind of rooted in, the lucky part is rooted in a little bit of making your own luck.
I think that's it rings true with your story about Honest Burger as well. The fact that a little bit of luck there as well.
Yeah, we've had. I tell you that's not the only stroke of luck we've had along the way.
Oh, it's brilliant. So what does the future look like? Like hopefully in a post-lockdown world, what's next up for Lucky Saint?
More of the same, really. Can't wait for the entree to reopen.
Yeah.
Get those draft venues re-pouring.
Outside of London as well?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
We definitely see it's London's definitely a bit easier kind of volume-wise and uptake-wise. But we've started to go into a few national accounts, which is great.
Nice.
But yeah, I think more unfiltered lager.
Yeah, definitely. Can you get your beer outside of the UK?
Hardly. We're in Norway.
Yeah.
And we're talking to a couple of other like small countries, but at the moment, kind of, there's just I feel like there's so much to do still, even on our doorstep.
Yeah. I think definitely.
So I kind of have this view around just focus and try to just make the best lager humanly possible.
Definitely. I think I think you're not far off. It's pretty amazing as it is.
So yeah, and then what are the other plans? Hopefully we'll start growing the team again.
Yeah.
Um,
What does the team look like at the moment?
so we're a team of 6,
Okay.
7. We're a team of 7. So there's we have 2 on the sales side, we have 2 on the marketing side, and then there's myself and Emma. Emma joined recently from a company called Gray's, the snack brand.
Okay, yeah.
And then we have someone on ops as well.
Nice. Okay, so yeah. I mean, you're going to need it after after lockdown. Everyone's going to be wanting to get those pints again.
I hope so.
Definitely. Oh, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and it was a really great way to finish off the festival. So
my pleasure. Good to talk to you, Robin.
Yeah, you too, and best of luck with everything coming out of lockdown, and hopefully catch you for a pint at some point.
Yes, definitely. Look forward to it.
Cheers. Take care. Thank you.
Cheers, Robin. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, thank you everybody for joining me this weekend. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm absolutely shattered now. It's been a long weekend, but it was definitely worth it. Everybody who joined in on the chat on YouTube, everybody who has been sharing stuff on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. It's just it's incredible. It's bigger than I thought it would be. I think Wise Bartender, who did the packs, they sent out over 80 of the packs to people. So it's just fantastic, and it just shows what the world that we've got here. And yeah, I think it's a real celebration. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you want to, obviously, you probably all know how to follow me now. I'm going to try and do the Nick Keller thing and put it up on the YouTube page again. But yeah, like just follow me, tell your friends. Like I want to do more stuff like this, more real life stuff rather than just pictures of bottles and cans. So yeah, follow me. If you want to join the AF Beer Club, that's a really good way to support me. It's 6 beers a month. It's £15 a month, and that's just literally me out in my house packaging the beers and sending them out to you once a month. So it's small scale, but it's a good way to support me if you want to, and keep that alcohol-free spirit going that we've got, which I think we've all seen this weekend. So yeah, thank you everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your lockdown with plenty of good alcohol-free beers. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.